Good morning. I'm about to head out for work, having to start completely over in your 30s because in your teens, you were told that in your 20s, you want to set up your life, in your 30s, like you want to have all that set up. And if you don't, like you're a failure. Going into your 30s is almost like what they promised in our 20s, like figuring things out and having different lessons and things that happen in your 20s that you can build off of now. And there's this new level of like sureness that you have within yourself, but also there's so much like uncertainty at the same time. It's a unique journey. I know when I turned 20, I would say about 28. 28 was the year that I was most excited to be for whatever reason. 28 was when my life like crumbled apart. And then 29 was just not a great year for me at all. And so these ages that I thought that would be the most exciting, the most enlightening time of my life turned out to be the worst, quote unquote. And so going into my 30s, I was afraid. I was so afraid. Going from 29 to 30, I was terrified. I was terrified because I felt like I didn't do what I was told I needed to do. When in your 20s, you need to set up your life, have your career planned out, all of these things. And I see a lot of these stories where like you're having to start over in your 30s. And it's coming from people who took the route of like they got a high degree and had this like well-paying job. My story is a little bit different. I did go to college, but I actually stopped at an associate's degree. And on top of that, my degree was in art. And so my transition in life wasn't from like I was making a certain amount of money, but I wasn't happy. My story looks more like I was in sales and retail for a long portion of my life. And not because I couldn't take my career somewhere else, but I had these plans. I would watch these stories of people changing their lives in their 30s. And in my mind, I was like, wow, like they have this security that I don't have to be able to make an adjustment or a move, you know. Um, Kind of feeling a lot of like self-doubt around not having these things that I was told that if I had them, I would set my life up for success and I would be good. And essentially getting to a point where I was blaming where my life is for not like planning properly, where that's not really true. Like I had a plan and it was going well. But then life happened in so many different ways. That kind of derailed what I thought my life would look like. I want to offer a different side of um, starting over in your 30s. However, it's not so different because we're all starting over in our 30s. And for one reason or another, whether my life looks like I had a fancy degree or fancy job, I'm not a fancy degree, a fancy job, um, or not, we're all still going in the same place. And sorry, I'm sidetracking what I said because I don't want to make it a like either or type of situation. We're all starting over. And it's something that we just didn't expect because we were taught that our life would be planned out by now. Everything would be rolling out and we would be good by the time we were in our 30s if we did it correctly. And I'm noticing that there was no matter of doing it correctly. Life happens one way or another. Typically what that would look like is I wasn't happy at work, which I was not happy at work. Lost a long-term relationship. My relationship was 5.5 years and it ended in a horrible way. Horrible way. And I found out that I wasn't showing up for myself the way that I needed to. It's also comforting to know like you're not alone. And I guess that's the point. I just want people to know you're not alone. You're not alone in these experiences. You're not alone if you feel like I didn't set my life up the way I wanted to, or my life didn't get set up in a way that I was told I was going to be successful, therefore I'm not successful. That's not why, honey. That is not why. Life happened, and so much has happened in this world that we did not expect. And so I'm just here to say you're doing great. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, and we don't know like what these next couple of I'm not even going to just limit it to a couple of months. We don't know what anything is going to look like. And because we don't know what anything is going to look like, to decide that we failed is not fair to ourselves. So, we're going to talk more. We're going to do great. But you got this. Yeah, you got this. And life is not over. Life is not over. It's easy to feel like, oh my God, I'm 30 and the world favors young people. You're still young, honey. You are still young. We just got to get out of our way, get out of our own way, and just realize like we have the opportunity. We're in a new decade. We're in a whole new decade. For me, I just turned 30. Well, not just. I'm about to be 31, but we're in a new decade in our life. That's exciting times. Reset. I feel like what I was told I was going to feel like when I was 20. That's what I feel like. And we'll talk more about like how and why I feel that way. But yes, this is just to say you can start over in your 30s and you have the power to make this an empowering time instead of a fearful, scary, I didn't do what I need to do. You did. Everything that you did in your 20s, you needed to do it to be right here in this point in time the way you are. And where you are, it's time for you to build off of it in the most exciting, empowering way possible. Be excited about it. You have the opportunity to set your life up exactly the way you want to. It's not over. And don't tell yourself it is. We will talk later. But for now, just sit in that. Remind yourself of that. Convince yourself of that. It is not over. See you next time. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat doing parkour everywhere in 4 in the morning. Anyway, he's full of energy this morning. And I'm trying to get this out before I gotta leave out for work. He don't care about me. He don't care. And typically what it looks like. Stop. Trying to get my necklace.